afternoon at this point of the day. My name is Alicia. I am the Fanciful Flamingo here on YouTube. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at the.fancifulflamingo. Thank you guys for tuning in today. What is today? Wednesday, February something or another. Tomorrow I leave for a retreat, so I wanted to get on here real quick before life got even crazier than it is and film a floss tube. So thank you guys for spending some time with me, and I'll be back in just a second to get the show started. All right, let's start this off with prayers and praise. Prayers this week, let's keep California in our thoughts and prayers. The whole state, and it's a big old state, is under a flood warning. I cannot even imagine how an entire state can be under a flood warning. So please, please keep them in our thoughts and prayers. My dear sweet friend Susan, Sweet Wings Studios, Mama wasn't feeling well this weekend. She called 911. They took her to the hospital, and she's having some heart issues, and she's going to have, I think, bypass surgery tomorrow. Thursday, I don't even know what day it is, y'all. But let's keep Susan and her sweet mama in our prayers as well, that this surgery just goes smoothly and that she has a quick and easy recovery. You know how important our mamas are to us. My friend Jen Nasca is still sick. I talked to her this morning, and I was hoping that she would be all better because she and I both had that icky flu in January that wouldn't go away, and then she got a sinus infection, and now she's like, she just can't shake it. So let's please keep her in our prayers as well, that she finally gets on that mend. And tomorrow is Beach Please here, retreat in Clearwater, and so lots of Stitchers are starting their travels today to come to the retreat. So I ask that you keep them all also in your thoughts and prayers, that they have a very smooth and easy travel day, and that we just all have a great time at the retreat. It is a wonderful time to get to know new people, and I always believe that God's hand is in every retreat, and that there is someone there that you are meant to meet and someone that needs you as well. There is a reason that we all come together. So I ask that you keep us all in your thoughts and prayers, and remember, it's okay. We all come from different walks of life, different religions, different beliefs, but a good thought never hurt anybody. And as I always say, along with the prayers, there's got to be some praise. And our friend Kathy, who we prayed for 2 weeks ago already, that had hand surgery, she has arthritis in her hands, and it was in her right hand, her stitchy hand. But she is recovering nicely, so we are just thrilled about that. And also always thank you guys so much for reaching out and let me know that you are thinking of us and praying for us. It is all greatly appreciated. I am going to ask for a prayer for myself. Yesterday was the 16th, it's not an anniversary, but it was 16 years that my daddy passed away. He did get to meet my daughter. She was 4, so she does still have some memories of her granddaddy, but he never got to meet my son, and he just would have been so tickled with crazy old Gavin. But it's been 16 years without my daddy. I still think about him all the time, and I know those of you who have lost a loved one can understand that there are times that I see something, hear something, think of something, and my first thought is, oh, I gotta call and tell my daddy. He knows. I talk to him. I do. And we have a special little code that when the rays of the sunshine stream through the clouds and leave those beautiful little bands, I know that's him talking to me, because believe it or not, every time that I would go visit my mom after he passed, I would see those rays, and I knew that he was telling me, thank you for still taking care of your mama. Good job. I'm proud of you. So if you just, my heart's a little heavy. I've lost both of my parents now, and I don't think it gets easier. I just think that we adapt. But enough of that, and I'll be back in a second, because I took Molly Linens and Scraps Words to Heart this month, and I've got FFOs to show. So hold on tight. I'll be right back. All right. I know that at the beginning of the year, I switched my order and started with my starts first, but I have quite a few FFOs to show y'all this week. A few of them I finished myself, and a few of them I just got back from the framers. So I'm going to start with the ones that I've done myself. Last time I showed you that I had finished Chris the Camping Stitcher Be Mine pillow, but I was waiting on the chenille from Lady Dot Creates, and I ordered about 6 different colors, and they came in, and we took a family vote because, you know, my family's so invested in my stitching, and they all agreed that this was the one. And I stitched the chenille on there. Not as pretty as Vonna Fife does it, but I do follow her tutorial on putting hand stitching the chenille on. And then I finished the back. I have some 2024 charms on these little hooks. And then I found a bunch of wooden buttons at Hobby Lobby. And so I just put that on there too. And so now I have a pretty back. So now it really is FFO'd. And I still have a little bit of my Valentine's up. I'm going to finish taking it down today, but I wanted to keep it up to show y'all this. And then I had finished Hen and Chicks by Brenda Gervais last time. And I had bought this board from Hobby Lobby in their unfinished wood section. And I think it was like $6.49 or $6.99, and I got it at 40% off. Bought this fabric at Hobby Lobby, so mounted it both. And I had wanted to put something up here on top. So I found these little sprigs at Michael's, and I still may add some more. I don't like a lot of floof, but I do feel like it needs a little bit more. This is some velvet ribbon that I had from Hobby Lobby from fall. And then I did my first cross-stitched covered button. I watched Nicole Spohr do a bunch of these last year and just ordered a whole bunch of these little sets to make covered buttons off of Amazon, and then failed miserably at my first attempt. It's not perfect. I probably could have put another little stem this way, but it's kind of hard to tell like exactly where it's going to sit. But I just took some of these little flower pods and kind of made my own little pattern for the covered button. And now it's, like I said, I think I'm going to add a little bit of more sprig, but it's on one of the shelves in my kitchen now, and I love it. So that's another FFO done all by me. And then y'all also had seen that I had finished the Blessing Sampler by the Camping Stitcher. In my last video, I bought this frame, and it was a standing frame at Hobby Lobby. Last week, I think their frames were 50% off. And I just X-Acto knifed the back that has the stand on it, took it off so it wouldn't be bulky. I laced this myself. And then just, I need to put one little more ka-chunker on the back, but now it sits as you come in my front door to bless us all this year. So, and this frame, I think, maybe came out to be $10. And so I mounted it and laced it myself, and I love it. So look, Molly, 3 FFOs for FFO February, all done by me. Thank you, Molly, for the idea. I love you, sweet friend. And then I had finished Wilhelmina in January. And this one, I mounted it myself and laced it myself, and then took it to Hobby Lobby to have a frame cut, because this was like 5.5 by 5.5, and there was no 6, left too much space. 5 would have cut some off. I didn't do the best mounting of it, but I picked this molding, and just so you know, 5 by 5 is the smallest cut of frame that Hobby Lobby will do, and I know that now. So anything above 5 by 5, you can have custom framed. So again, I had already mounted it, but I left it with them, and they did this for me. I picked this molding, and they backed it, did all of it, and it was $18. Picked it up today. This is Wilhelmina by Plum Street. And last year I had finished This I Know by Plum Street as well. It was a market release last year. And I had this framed at the cross stitch cupboard. We finished this at StitchCon, and I had friends at StitchCon put in some stitches on the grass and the sheep for me. And it sits on my wall over there. So now Wilhelmina is going to accompany it on the wall. They're going to look fabulous together. I will say that I may take this frame and have it cut down because I really would have liked almost a negative border. If you guys have seen Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher 2 videos ago, she showed, was it Live on Little? I'm not sure which one, but it had water. And she took it to Michael's and they did almost a 0 border. And I love it. I do love this frame. I just feel like my grass is kind of floating and I would have liked to have had it a tighter border. So I may take this and have it cut down again. But this was done at the Cross Stitch Cupboard and they're not framing anymore, but I have found a local framer. So I'll show y'all again. So this is an FFO and this is they're gonna go together. I love it. So there's another FFO this month. And then I had started this one at the Samplers Remembered Retreat in September. It is a Little Robin design. It's a sampler in blue and green. And so I took this to a New For Me framer in town and had it custom framed. And they stretched it and matted it and did everything for me. And I love it. And this one is now in my family room. So this is a sampler in blue and green by Little Robin Designs. So I have that one done. And then this was my birthday start. And I finished it. And I wanted the chunky frame just like in the booklet. The rose and the giant pear. Isn't she stunning? And I'm a full disclosure. This was a chunky, extremely expensive frame. Extremely expensive. These 2 frames cost a little bit, which is why I took the other one to Hobby Lobby to see. But when I got these back and I saw the craftsmanship, and they did exactly what I wanted almost 0 border on this one and a 1/2 inch on this one. And y'all, I don't know what kind of foam they use, but it is so fluffy. It's so fluffy I could die. So I dropped off 2 more. It's blurry. I dropped off 2 more that I had done with this framer because I was just so impressed with the quality of their work. I don't have a ton of stuff in my pile to frame. I think I had 6. But it was my daughter that asked me at the beginning of the year, Mama, where's all the stuff that you stitch? And I was like, I need to. So when I picked these up, I dropped those 2 off. I think I have another 2 that I want professionally framed. So when I pick those up, I'll drop another 2 off. And then as I finish samplers throughout the year, I will take one at a time. I mean, it takes me a couple months to finish a sampler. And have them framed so that I can look at them and then, you know, my husband can see how much he loves me. And it will be more manageable. Could I take a bunch to be framed at one time? No, because I don't have an OnlyFans page for my toes. If you know, you know. But I can do a little bit at a time, and I do enjoy seeing them up. It just brings me great joy, and that's what this is about. But you know what? If it's the process that is your greatest joy, just the stitching, and you just want to stitch it, and maybe like Allura by Stitching by the Shore does, puts them in a scrapbook, or you just put them in a box and then open the box every once in a while and go through them and relive the memories of stitching them. The whole thing is whatever brings you joy. Whatever brings you joy. If you like to fully finish yourself, do it. When I'm in the groove of the fully finishing, I do enjoy it. Using a lot of the crafts that I have acquired through the years. It's nice to finally use them, use a little bit different skills, just break out of the monotony of just not the monotony, but you know, the everyday of stitching. I do have fun in the moment, but it takes me a while to gear up to fully finish. And yes, sometimes I think I could be stitching instead of doing this. But like I said, once it's finished, I do enjoy it. So give me a second to move this pile so it doesn't tumble, because I would be sad if one of these frames broke. And I will be back to show you what else I've worked on in February. Whew, put all that up. I do have 2 FFOs that I have finished this month that were whips out of my whip baskets. And the first one is Gobble Gob. It's part of her 3-stack from Plum Street Samplers. I started this in November and then got sick again with my heart and then lost my stitchy mojo. I had all intentions of finishing this for Thanksgiving and I didn't. And if y'all remember in November, I think it was Strutting Tom by Lindy Stitches. Her birds are just fabulous. But that one got me all in the Stitching Turkeys mood. So I finished it. I haven't ironed it this month. This became one of my whips that I worked on. And I have to be honest with you, when I picked it back up, I didn't think I had that much more to go. But I did. But it's okay because it's finished. And I'm going to finish it into a pillow. And if I knew where the card was for it, I would tell you what I stitched it on. I know it's a 32. But there's Gobble Gob. So that's an FO. And a whip out of my whip basket from 2023. Done. And then I was so close last time, but I haven't. I'm sorry I didn't put these on boards. I have finished Because of You from Hands Across the Sea. Hands Across the Street. I wish Nicola lived across the street. I know she's glad she doesn't, but I wish she did. This was my anniversary start, August 31st. And this is my most fancy, I don't even know what the right word is, sampler that I've done to date. The most intricate with the flower borders. Most of my samplers, as you've seen, have been pretty much just alphabets. But I love it, and I'll iron this one and take it to be professionally framed. And here is the booklet. My Hands Across the Sea. And I did put our initials in the year we were married. She has, she included an alphabet in there so that you could personalize it. But I personalize all my samplers. I do not stitch the girl's name that did the sampler. And I'm going to tell you, when I first started it, it was because my husband was like, why are you going to put somebody else's name on our wall? That's weird. And then we were at an antique mall, and they were selling some samplers as antiques because of the name and the date on the sampler. But when I looked at the samplers carefully, they looked like reproductions where the person had reproduced it exactly like the pattern. And that's, I think, where the confusion came in. If you put, and you can do it, I mean, it's yours. The problem is, then it goes to sale. And then it lands up at an antique mart, and someone's looking at it thinking that Anne Richardson really stitched that in 1836, for example. And I looked at those, and I was like, I think these are reproduced. I don't think these are the original samplers. And not that anybody would ever look at my stitching and think, oh, somebody did a beautiful job and created this whole sampler herself. Anybody that looks at mine are going to say, why did this person think she could stitch on linen and apparently she couldn't count? And they would not be wrong. But now for sure, I will always put some kind of personalization or a sticker on the back of the frame, because, you know, I wouldn't want anybody at Goodwill thinking that they'd bought a Picasso when they hadn't. Then they're going to take it on the Antique Roadshow, and then somebody's going to make them look foolish on the Antique Roadshow, and then I'm going to have that on my dead conscience. No, thank you. I have enough on my dead conscience now. Yeah, that's how my brain works, people. I feel sorry for my husband. I have some starts that are now whips since the last time we met 2 weeks ago. But look, I'm doing it every 2 weeks, y'all. So Saturdays are my Prairie Schooler Saturdays. Thanks to Stitchy Linda and Chrissy Finally a Farm Girl, and like I think Ginger Scholl and Tina Egner. There's quite a few of us that do Prairie Schooler Saturday. I have taken a pause from my Santas to work on bunnies. And I saw this, Kathy and Misty showed this on Two Needles Pulling Thread, and I stopped the video and went and found it. And so for the last 2 Saturdays, this is what I have been stitching on, and I have 3 of the 9 done so far. And I'm just going in order of the booklet. So here's my first one. Here's my second. And this is my third. And I can do about 1.5. This one took, I timed this one just to kind of see. This was 4 hours of stitching. And they're small. And it was still 4. These, what slows you down is there a ton of color changes. I mean, Cecilia Turner, Heart and Hand could have done these. And we know that we all love Cecilia, but her patterns have tons of color changes, and that's what makes them beautiful. For Prairie Schoolers, I'm used to the Santas that are big blocks of colors. These have a ton of color changes. I did not do it on the black because that's just not my aesthetic. This was a 16 count that was just in my stash still of 16. I don't stitch really on 16 count anymore, but these were so tiny that I couldn't imagine doing an 18. And honestly, for something that's really going to be a pillow that's about, hold on, let me fold it up. I mean, it'll be a little bit bigger because of the trim, but what's the point in using a linen on something this small, in my humble opinion? I'm going to do some ticking fabric for the backs, and I'm going to finish them into little pillows to put in one of my little dough bowls, all 9 of them. And I'm literally just going down the chart. So I do have 3 of the 9 finished. So that's what I work on Saturdays, or my Prairie Schooler Saturdays. I don't know if I'll have them all done by Easter, but I'll have a good amount done. And I am going to work on fully finishing these into little pillows. But let me tell you, teeny tiny pillows take longer than big old pillows. To stitch it, to turn it inside out, to stuff it, to seal it, takes longer than a big pillow. Then I've been working on Ann Richardson, which was the stitch for Carrie Tiger Lily's birthday by my sister's sampler. This one is so hard to put down, and the colors are beautiful. And I work on this now on Sundays for Sampler Sunday. But I realized something this Sunday, and it broke my heart. Shattered me. And I had been looking at this, and I'm like, the urn is off center. But I have one by Liz Matthews that's a reproduction that is off center. Because let's face it, these little girls would start stitching, and then they'd add things. They didn't rip anything out. I mean, Ann Richardson ran out of room and did this. They didn't care. These 2 aren't centered on the flower like we would do now. So even though the urn looked off center, I thought it's just the way she stitched it. So I just kept stitching, because heaven forbid I check. And this is how much I have done. I have 1 more flower over here, 2 over here, and some motifs. Almost done, people. Almost done. But I kept thinking, why is there all this space and no more stitching? And why doesn't this border line up with this border? But again, I kept thinking Ann Richardson just didn't care. When I was stitching this row right here, I got carried away stitching, and did one hump too many on this side. This is where I should have stopped. So, could I keep going? I could. Forward, not frogging, but when I get to this side, it's all going to even out. And so this would look weird, and it would bug me. So yeah, I have to unstitch all of this top part. All of it. It makes me sick to my stomach. But I love it. I've loved doing it. I can't wait to have it on my wall. And I'm going to unstitch it. I am. And I'm going to cry the entire time I'm unstitching it. Count on it. So Ann Richardson was almost done, but she's not. Luckily, I have the Victoria Clayton Silk. She's very generous with her spools, and I will have enough. If not, I'll just... This was a very economical pack that she made for Carrie's birthday stitch.
Someone is at the front door.
Amazon just delivered something. So I have that. But I should have enough, and if not, I'll just order another pack, but I'm going to do it. Still hurts. Still hurts. And then my new start for the second half of February, for my 24 and 2024, was Nottingham. It wasn't going to be originally, and I'll talk about that. But this was my second stitch for February. Nottingham by Kathy Barrick. And it's going to look a little odd the way I'm stitching it, but I am going to the Beach Please retreat. I leave tomorrow, and I wanted to continue to work on this. So you're going to see a lot of outlining because I'm going to use the retreat to fill in. You don't want to be counting at a retreat while you're talking. So this is 1 week's worth of stitching on Nottingham. Now, I don't stitch on this on the weekends or Wednesdays because Wednesdays is my whip. So, but this is what I've done. So see, I've outlined all the leaves to fill in the bird and some motifs at the bottom. And then I can also just carry the straight line border across. And trust me, I won't even get all of that done at the retreat because I'll just be yapping. But that way I can still work on it at the retreat, and I love it. And so I am doing page completions on this one. So what I have gotten, I've gotten to here. That's what you saw. And then this is the second page. They're long pages. And then this will be the third. And let me tell you, this border is a bear because look at all of those color changes in the alphabet. So as I pull a color to stitch in the pattern, if it's next in line on the alphabet, I will go and do the alphabet in that color. And there you can see the bird has little white speckles, so I did all of the white so I can just fill in all of the blue. If you do this, my other suggestion is, and I didn't really notice this, see all of these little blue, it's four squares, kind of confetti stitching. And I don't carry. And I didn't want to carry on this because my fabric's light. So I will show you my back. They are all stops and starts. So I say that to say, as I stitch and as I do a little piece, then I go in and I fill in the confetti. Then as I go down, I filled in the confetti. And then as I went down, I filled in the confetti because I thought there's no way that at the end I'm going to feel like doing all of it, or am I going to be able, I think it would just be overwhelming and I wouldn't see all of them. It's a lot easier to do in little sections. And then the last thing I will tell you is that I was intimidated to do this on a 32 count. I'm fairly new to linen, and this was going to be one of the bigger ones I've done. And it has a lot of detail work in it. So I decided, but I didn't want it to be humongous either. So I am doing this on this is 25 count Lugana Vintage Smoky White. I am doing this on a 25 count 1/1. I'd rather give birth again. But it's going to be the size that I want. I mean, I didn't want a tapestry or a twin quilt. So that's, if you see the bottom, that's as big as it will be. And it looks very dainty. 25, 1/1. And I don't need a magnifier. I can see it just fine. It isn't a Lugana, so it's an even weave. So it's easy, but even with the 1 DMC, it is thin. And when you're doing it 1/1, my friend Allison gave me this recommendation last week. You really have to do 1X at a time. You cannot do a Swedish stitch of running a half stitch across and then coming back, because it will actually fall underneath the fabric. So you have to do a full cross on each square to anchor it on this. And that's okay. That's how I stitch with silks, and that's how I stitch with over-dyed floss. It's not going to be a quick stitch, but that's okay because I'm enjoying it. So that, and it won't be finished in February. So what will happen after February is when I finish my next whip, then that will join the whip rotation for Wednesdays. So what is my whip going to be now that I have finished Because of You and Gobble Gob? I am picking back up my Alice by Tra La La. And Lenny with the Sable Stitchers is doing this for her great niece. But I love everything Alice in Wonderland because Alicia is actually the Spanish equivalent of Alice. And in Spanish, it's Alicia en el País de las Maravillas for Alice in Wonderland. So I love everything Alice in Wonderland. And I got this last year, worked on it a little bit. And so this is now, I will work on this today. And this is where I left off. And I'm sorry, it's not ironed. Now, there is an error in the pattern with the log. This, if you look, the ribbon is the same blue as her dress on the clock. It's blue on the pattern. But the little symbol calls for soot. That symbol calls for Gentle Arts soot, and that's what I stitched it on. This is soot by Gentle Arts. It is not the blue of the dress. And so it wasn't an error. Well, I mean, I could have. Lenny caught it, and so Lenny did her ribbon in blue. I had already stitched this in the soot when I looked at the picture. But I like the fact that Alice's dress is the only thing that's blue. I'm going to leave the ribbon in the soot, because I like that her dress stands out of the blue. And I think the soot looks fine for the clock. So this will be what I work on today for Whip Wednesdays. It goes back into the rotation. And I am now almost 2 months down into my 24 by 2024. And it is working really well for me. I like working 2 weeks on a pattern. I'm not going to say that there are times I'm like, I'm ready to start something new. But then I have my Whip Wednesday. I have my Prairie Schooler Saturday. And I have my Sampler Sunday. That gives me plenty of variety. But I'm also making progress. In January, I was able to finish both of my stitches. And in February, I was able to finish the first one. I knew Nottingham I wasn't going to finish in 2 weeks. And there are a lot of bigger patterns in my 2024. I didn't expect to finish everything within that month. But I will have a really, really good start, and then they will go into my whip rotation. Right now, with the whips that I have finished already from 2023, I have 14 left from 2023. And so Nottingham next week will be added, and I'll be back to 14 whips. That's okay. That's okay. I'm all right with that. But I am enjoying it. So for right now, 2 months in, I'm going to keep going in March. I know that my first new stitch, or my first call for in my 24 and 2024 in March, is a blackbird. And so I'm excited to start a blackbird. And the second one is a sampler that I have had for maybe almost 2 years. And it's bright colored as well. So I'm excited to, and that one may be able to be finished. It's not a big, I don't really do BAPs. But we will see. So, my book of days. I am going to now, I did it last year and then didn't use the book of days. I am going to take it apart, whatchamacallit, cover the front and back spiral bound, because Kia B and Jessica, Sweetwater Stitcher, have inspired me to, and Chris, I think the Camping Stitcher, to jazz them up a little bit. So, and I actually wrote on this every single day. And I have kept up with it in February. And then I just have March done the little cover. So, finishes for February, I have 2, Hen and Chicks and I Love You, which was by Little Robin Designs. Whip finishes, I have 2, the Because of You by Hats and the Gobble Gob by Plum Street. So right now for February, I am at 4 finishes. Really, I have 2 more bunnies, so that would be 6, but I haven't finished the whole booklet. And I am very happy with that. Very happy with how my progress is going. In January, I had 6 finishes in total. So, my February isn't stickered up yet, but I have every night, sits in my stitching basket, and I just jot it down. So, that's what I've been working on, y'all. Feels like I've been really busy. Some of y'all made a comment the last time that my needles were on fire, or I stitch a lot, or I stitch fast. I don't know if I stitch fast, or it's just I spend a lot of hours. About 7 o'clock at night, between 7 and 8, I sit down with the family to watch TV, and I start stitching. And I stitch until about midnight. I do. So that's a good 4 to 5 hours a night that I am stitching. So I get that that's probably a lot more time than a lot of people get. So I don't know if I'm necessarily a fast stitcher or there's just a lot of stitchy time. But I'll be back. I'm going to take a pause, get a drink, put these up, and then come back and talk about what I've been watching, what I've been doing, and what I've been buying. All right, before we get into what I've been buying, let's get into what I've been watching. First of all, my beautiful friend, Carrie Chamberlain, Tiger Lily Designs, has a new Patreon, and it's free to join. She is a prolific stitcher, quilter, project keeper maker, subscription box, connoisseur, curator, knitter, as she likes to say, hooker, which just causes me angst every time she does, but she's a rug hooker. I want to start any ugly rumors. But she has a Patreon, and she is doing a weekly tutorial on how to knit a beanie. I am a knitter, have all the stuff, used to do baby blankets for the local NICUs. And I just haven't knitted in a while, and was going to do I've only done like blankets and scarves, so I've never really had to worry about gauging and knitting in the round. So I haven't jumped on that wagon yet because I'm afraid to go down that big old rabbit hole. But she has a Patreon. I have joined, and that is so exciting, and congratulations. My friend Shelly, Antique Needleworker, has a new Facebook group for all of you guys that love her as much as I do. So Antique Needleworker is now on Facebook as well. Stitching by the Shore has been a floss tuber for 4 years. She is also a prolific scrapbooker. She scrapbooks a lot of her stitches. She is an enabler, and I love to watch her. This is what I love. Her kind of quote at the end is connecting the world 1x at a time. I love that. She also has a Facebook group, Stitching by the Shore, and her goal this year is to try to finish 55 pieces for her 55th year. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. The Sable Stitchers, Lenny and Roberta, just celebrated 8,000 followers on Flosstube. Y'all know a good thing when you see it. I love them. I've been blessed enough to meet Roberta in person. It's not about the numbers, and I'll tell you that. We do this because we love it, but we sure do appreciate your love and support and your comments and you guys subscribing. So well done and well deserved, Lenny and Roberta. And then she's the talk of the town lately and so well deserved. Tara Sullivan Stitches. She is from Greenville, South Carolina. She's another South Carolina girl like me. Holy cow. So last night when I wrote this a week ago, she'd done 2. Well, she posted another one last night. So she's got 3 up. And from what I understand from her, she used to have a floss tube and then took a break and now is back. Last week was her designer spotlight of Brenda Gervais. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor and take all of your credit cards and your bank cards and bury them in the backyard before you watch her, because you will want it all. Last night, she showed a few more Brenda Gervais pieces. Sorry, this hair's getting my nerves. And Blackbird. Don't dig. You know what? Just leave them in the backyard. Don't dig them up. Don't dig them up. You'll need an OnlyFans page if you watch her. But, so that's what I have been watching. I watched Katie Strachan's latest floss tube, and she has a kit that she recharted of a Plum Street, and I can't think of the name of it right now, and I'm sorry, in beautiful silks. But she kind of gave a tip that she does, is that she saves samplers. Well, we all save the charts, but she has a library of alphabets from samplers that she has stitched that she likes, that she uses when she personalizes her samplers. And I thought that is genius. I do have a book up there on alphabets and borders that I bought off of Amazon a year or 2 ago, because I do personalize my samplers. But Katie, thank you for that tip. And I am starting a library of sampler alphabets of my own. Genius. So those are some things that people that I have been watching that I wanted to shout out, that I wanted to pass on to you. And that tip from Katie Strachan. As well as come on now. And now on to purchases. And not everything's coming in the mail, but a few months ago, I was at my local antique mart, and I had seen a doll pincushion in the wild, in real life. I have seen these before on antique sites. I've seen them on eBay. And I don't know why I didn't buy them. I don't know why I didn't. I went back a week later, and that shop in the antique mart had closed. They were gone. And I was so sad. So I've still been perusing eBay. What you can find a lot on eBay is just the body. The porcelain or ceramic bodies. Girl, I'm never going to make this. I saw this one on eBay, and I bought her. And I was hoping that she really was as beautiful in real life as she was in the pictures. And she was. It's like the pin cushiony thing underneath. Shelly, Antique Needleworker, and I were talking after I found the first one in the wild. And she actually had taken a class. And maybe I would love to learn to make it. But, so this was my purchase. She now has a place of honor on my Martha Stewart sewing piece of furniture. Oh, what you call it. Words are hard. So this was a purchase, and I love her. And now I'm scouring eBay for more. Nicola had shown these a while back, maybe about a month ago. And they sold out immediately. And so last week on her floss tube, she said they had more in stock, and I ran over and I bought this one. And they are extremely heavy with my little mouse because I had to have it. I will also tell you that Nicola has Kohanas in every color, and she on hers has a blue handled one and a yellow, and I have scoured looking for them and I cannot find them. I do have 3 pairs, and I have a pair of Soju. I was not lucky enough to get the gold handled Kohanas that were released at New Year and cannot be found. I'm waiting for Kohana to release their new color for this year. And yes, I will buy it. I love my Kohana scissors. They are light. They are sharp. They have a very good point to them. I love them. In my opinion, well worth the money. My Sojus, I do not like as much because this is a mother of pearl handle and it's kind of fragile. The Kohanas are light, but the handles are still sturdy enough for my big hands. But this, y'all, I ordered this last week and it came yesterday in like less than a week from across the pond. So I've got that. It was an investment. So solid, so heavy. Look at this mouse. So beautifully made. Don't regret it at all. Let me dig in here. Y'all have seen this. Several people have shown it. Lenny showed it. Can't remember the first. I know, Kathy. 2 Needles Pulling Thread had gone to the barefoot retreat in South Carolina and shown it. Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher is featured in here from StitchCon. Chantel's 141 Design is featured in here from StitchCon. There is a pattern from Erin Elizabeth in here. I don't usually get the magazine because I never remember to go back and stitch from them. I think I am going to subscribe again and show my support for all things cross-stitching. Here is my dear friend Erin Elizabeth's pattern. How stinking cute is that? And her finishes are just to die for. Love you, Erin. Congratulations. And her market releases, golly dang. Finding Floss Tube. There she is. Chantel. Last time I kind of yelled her name into the screen and scared her to death when she was watching it. And scared myself too when I watched it back. I got to be honest with you. I was like, good grief. Karen! KEB Designs. If you know, you know. She was the first designer that I featured in my subscription boxes. KEB Designs did the pumpkins for our first box. And she has one in here. Karen! Oh my gosh, I got to stitch that. Let me see. I'm just looking through it because there was something in here that we all want to. This is it. Yes, ma'am. When Kathy and Lenny showed this, I ran. I got mine at Barnes & Noble. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to make it just like this. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am sorry to say that I don't have other issues of just cross-stitching. I am, like I said, I am absolutely subscribing after this. Fabulous. Fabulous. I know Joann's carries them. And like I said, I got mine at Barnes & Noble. Unique sampler motifs. I wish I could remember, and I'm sorry that I don't, who showed this on their floss tube. But I immediately went and bought it. I have been buying more books on the history. I've got another one coming that Nicola recommended on her last floss tube. This book is so well worth it. It is amazing. I mean, I could show you one of these because you can't. Look. Highly recommend. Farm Dry Good Girl, something or another. Jessica's screaming at the TV at me. I think is where I got this one. Farm Girl Dry Goods. I would have lost the Wheel of Fortune thing though. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Jess, I'm bringing this to you at the retreat. I ordered some. Everybody's been stitching on XG Design fabric, and I didn't have any, so I wanted to try it. So I got a 32 count Zweigart Lugana Even Weave from XG. Seems like I bought like a half yard of it. Again, came from overseas. Lickety split. Lickety split. Then Color and Cotton, it was their fabric of the month, but they had some extra. When I first got on the site, I only saw the Ada left in it, and I didn't care. I wanted it because it's Color and Cotton. So I bought the 20 count hay bale. Gorgeous. And I used 20 count, especially for Christmas ornaments. But then I went back in and I saw that the linen was in its separate category, and they did have some 32 left. So I quickly purchased 32 count hay bale. Because yeah, why not? And then, you know that I love Jackson Fabrics. And anytime she posts on Instagram, that Sarah posts on Instagram that she has some fabric listed on her website, I run and buy it. And this is Summer Breeze 32 count. And I know my lights wash it out, and I'm sorry, but it is gorgeous. And like I said, she always sends a swatch of something else she has and a sweet personalized card. Jackson Fabrics. Anytime she posts on Instagram, I immediately go by. And I'm sorry, I keep going down into my box. I mentioned Lady Dot Creates that I had ordered, and I couldn't just get just one. So Peony is what I used on the Be Mine pillow by the Camping Stitcher. This is actually, can't be caught, but it is only on Etsy. That's what it says on the tag. I bought that color. I bought Berry Crush. I bought some Pom Pom, that's Brick House. She's a brick house. Yes, I'm that old. And then Quirky Things Happen. Oh no, and there's one more. Of course there is. Ballerina. She sent this within 24 hours. The post office took 10 days to deliver it. She sent it within 24 hours. And then, please do not bend me, Hometown Needleworks. I have purchased a lot from her lately too. But again, Carrie, Tiger Lily Designs, had these 12 Days of Christmas Prairie Schoolers. And I, for whatever reason, feel like I have to own every 12 Days of Christmas collection ever. But you know, I need the Prairie Schoolers. So I bought that. Is that it? Did I show? Oh, I don't know if I showed these or not. Maybe I did. And if I did already, I apologize. But it was still in the basket. I found this off of eBay. The angels. Now, I have shown some that are like black work angels, but I found this on eBay for my Jesus tree. Lori Miller, Thread Milk Designs. And then I want to talk about, last but not least, oh, and I got my Color and Cotton threads, but people have shown two things that I've decided not to continue. Well, right now. My second stitch for February was going to be the courage in honor of Pam. Just keep stitching. And I had shown it, and I'd bought the fabric and the floss at StitchCon last year. And I was going to make it in memory of my mom. I'm just not there yet, emotionally. I have stitched this flower that reminded me of her, but it was a memory of my childhood. I am just emotionally not ready to do this stitch for my mom. One day it will bring me peace and joy, and I will work on it. Or I may gift it. But right now, it causes me more pain to think about stitching it and remembering the Alzheimer's dementia mom. So I decided to do Nottingham. Why do people keep ringing my doorbell today? That's another delivery. And then I have this one left in my whips from last year, which was the Brenda Gervais. I did the Leprechaun and I did Oh Lucky Day last year and fully finished them. I did not get to Top of the Morning to you last year, so it was in my whip pile. And I decided, I'm Spanish. I'm not Irish. My husband's family's Cuban. I do like to decorate a little bit, but I liked the top of them. I liked Oh Lucky Day. I decided I'm not going to do this one. I have these two and I have some others to do. And so I have taken it out of my whip pile. So I am down to 14 whips. So I'm not UFOing it, maybe. I never started it, but I did the other two. And so I am giving myself the grace to say, that's good on that one. That it would have been a quick stitch. I only do a little bowl for St. Patrick's Day. Couldn't even remember the guy's name, bless his heart. And didn't he drive the snakes out of Ireland? I don't know, Ireland. Do you have any snakes? Did I make it up? Is that an urban legend? TikTok probably told me and I believed it. That is it for me this week. Oh, life updates. My son decided to not try out, but put his name in the hat to work on the crew of Shrek Jr., the middle school play that they're putting on this May. And he made it. And he's been going 2 or 3 days a week to work on the crew. I think it's because it's a little girl, a young lady. But he's at that age where you really can't ask a lot of questions. And so I'm being cool mom. But I'm excited and he's having a lot of fun with that. I am going to the Beach Please retreat. I leave tomorrow. Jess Sweetwater Stitches and Jody Simply Stitching Ocala are roomies. Lots and lots and lots of people going. I haven't packed yet. I am working on the subscription boxes for March. I got the patterns in from Susan Sweetwing Studio yesterday. Chef's kiss. Beach Please. Stitch Florida 2024 does have a few openings left now. Some people that have paid their deposit, but now as it gets closer, have conflicts, have backed out. If you would like any information regarding the subscription boxes or the retreat, please send me an email to shop@fancifulflamingo.com and I will be glad to send you any and all information that you need. I will be back in 2 weeks. Next, I come back this weekend. We make all the boxes. We ship them out next week. And then next Thursday, my husband and I leave for market. And we're going to meet up with Annie and her husband, Little Robin Designs and her husband and son, and just a lot of people that I have never met in person. I get to hug my friend Carrie, Tiger Lily's neck. I will get to meet Shelly and hug her neck. And I don't know, probably be tasered and get restraining orders from other people on me. But so I will be back after market to tell y'all all about the retreat and market. So thanks for tuning in, and y'all choose joy, bring joy where you can, and have a fabulous, fabulous 2 weeks. See y'all later. Bye.